Well, with me in the studio, I've got Lindsay Quayle, who we've known each other for many, many years.
Yes.
What I didn't know was so much about this part of your life, about the Ballacallin. I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah.
But obviously, first of all, what do you think when you saw it up in flames?
So terribly, terribly sad. Couldn't believe it. Got a text from my son at about 6:30 in the morning, and I thought, who's texting me at this time of the morning? And it was my son telling me it was all over the news. Ballacallin had gone up in flames. And of course, we lived there for so long. It was all part of my children's lives as well. So yes, I switched on the news and watched and listened. And the next day I went up to see it, and I just couldn't believe it was just a shell, absolute shell.
I mean, it's
so sad.
It's been sad for years, though, hasn't it? Just sitting there neglected. Were you the last?
No. There was a couple bought it from us, and they ran it for 2 or 3 years, and then it was bought by it was run by Simon Costain. I've since found out he was actually running it for his brother. But I know very little about that. But they actually closed it in 2007. It was up for sale, but the price, I think, was too high, but also it kept coming down. And I think the longer it stood there looking neglected, it just seemed to just sit there. It was so sad.
Well, we've been looking at some pictures that you gave us in your time. The bikers there were having a great time.
Yeah. Well, we had the Triumph Owners people, the Triumph Owners Club there. It had historically been there for quite a few years, and then it had tailed off. Sorry. And we rang them, the Triumph Owners people, and said, look, we'd like to have a go if you'd give us a try. And they said, yes, certainly. And we never looked back. They came every year after that. We built a big outside barbecue, which was brilliant when the sun was shining. And we it was brilliant. The whole of TT was brilliant. And we had the same group of men. There was about 8 or 10 of them who used to come and stay with us every year. And it was just magic. It was brilliant.
I suppose Ballacallin was like all these country pubs. It was a hit once we couldn't drink and drive. Should never drink and drive. But
but in those days,
things changed.
Going back, you would risk a couple.
Yeah.
But now it's clamped down so much, quite rightly. But yes, what happened with us is people would come out for a meal as they had done normally, and whereas they would stay for a meal, watch the sunset, which is what it was famous for. Have a few drinks. They were then just leaving and going home because they wanted to get nearer home so they could walk. We did have a minibus. We were the first people on the island to provide a minibus. If there was a group of you wanting to come for a meal, we would pick you up and take you home. I've seen myself many a night driving down the Slough at 1 and 2 in the morning after a party, and snow and everything, taking people home. But it was good as well for the pool teams as well. The pool teams used to visit, and they could have a few jars while they were playing, and knew that we would take them home. So, but it did make a difference.
I gather now it's just flattened completely now, by the way.
It's just gone completely.
Have you back out there yet?
Yeah, couldn't believe it. The fences went up, and I thought, they're obviously going to do a bit of investigation into how the fire started, but no, within a few weeks there was diggers there and everything, and the whole thing's just been razed to the ground.
Well, the reason we're chatting today really is because you want to make sure it's not forgotten.
We do.
That's why I've got these pictures you've dug up, but there's going to be a lot more out there. There's a lot of history, a lot of people who know stories about it.
I know, obviously still know a lot of people from my time there, and but it's prior to that. I've actually traced it back to 1901, and I'm not expecting anybody to still be alive doing that, but I have traced a relative of the people who owned it. What triggered it for me was when it was on Manx Nostalgia on Facebook that it had gone up. The number of people who had the memories of good times there, of parties there, family dues, fundraisers, melias, darts and pools team.
It's got to be the centre of the area, hasn't it? I mean, that would have been it, the place everyone would have gone to.
Yeah, and of course Dolby Village is just amazing. It's such a community. So a lady called Anne Morehouse, who was born and brought up in Dolby Village, she got in touch with me and said, do you fancy getting together and trying to capture people's memories? It's such a shame for it to be lost. So we started drawing up a list of how we could go about this, and from that I've been putting posters up and doing interviews, and we're trying to get people to get in touch with us, talk to your mum and dad, talk to your grandparents, talk to your aunties.
Yeah, you're looking to do interviews with people about it, get some pictures as well, obviously.
Pictures are brilliant. I mean, where I'm living in the block of flats, actually, one of my residents actually has a picture on his wall of his niece getting married, and you can see the old tartan cloth in the picture, which it was very famous for. That was actually put up by Albert Goubet. He owned it at one time.
See all these stories that come
loads of stories. And it's amazing what's coming up, talking to people. So we want people to speak to their older relatives, see if you can get any memories from those.
And you're making a book, hopefully, is that the plan?
We hope to do a little book. It's not going to be a huge tome, obviously, but if we can just capture that time, because now it's gone. You can't even drive past like you can with somewhere like the Castle Mona and say, oh, I remember going to dances there, I remember when it was a hotel. There's just nothing there now.
How do people get hold of you for this?
Right, we have 2 ways. You can either get in touch with us via email. We've set up a dedicated site.
Cheers.
And it's Ballacallin History Project, all one word, small case.
That's a long title.
Yes, but it's Ballacallin.
Yes.
Has History Project, all one word, at gmail.com.
Right.
Otherwise, just fish around for Ballacallin history and I'm sure you'll find us. Or if you'd like to phone me, I'm quite happy to come and talk to you. I will copy any pictures so that we don't take them away from you. But we'd love to hear from you. So you can phone me on 07624 if you are outside of the Isle of Man, and we want to hear from all those people who've attended the TT, who've come over for holidays, who stayed with us in the past, who stayed at the Ballacallin in the past. And it's 422853.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, how long were you there?
I was there for nearly 7 years.
Right.
Yeah, and we built it up virtually from being closed. It was only open literally as a bar for the locals when we took it over, and we renovated all the bedrooms. We made it's quite higgledy-piggledy inside because it's marvellous to see how it's been built up over the years. So we made 7 ensuite rooms, and we redid the dining room and the small inner bar, and we eventually did the big bar as well, which we spent quite a lot of money on it. So it was quite sad to see it go. But made lots of friends there, got to know lots of people, and it was just an amazing time, and it got me back over to the Isle of Man, which was fabulous. Best thing I ever did.
That's another story.
Yes, it is.
So gone but not forgotten, I suppose.
Gone, but we hope not forgotten. Yeah.